Hello, everyone. I hope you're all safe and well in your homes. I am Francine Sayok from the International Seed Federation. And the last 2 weeks have been quite extraordinary for ISF as we're all working from home given the current situation with COVID-19. Today, I am joined by my colleague, Dr. Rose Souza Richards, who just joined ISF this year. And before ISF, she was working with the Ministry for Primary Industries in New Zealand. Hello, Dr. Rose. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Francine?
I'm good. Could you tell us a bit more about yourself, about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do hold a PhD from the University of Nottingham in plant molecular virology, and I also do held a master in plant pathology from the University of Viçosa in Brazil, and a master in plant taxonomy and systematic from the University of Reading.
And when you were in New Zealand, what was the work that you did?
Oh, I worked for the last 5.5 years on the NPPO of New Zealand, which is the Ministry for Primary Industry, mainly on the portfolio of seeds for sowing. So I was responsible for the drafting and working with the import requirements coming from New Zealand for seeds specifically.
Now, I know that this week an important event was supposed to be taking place, but given the current situation, it couldn't take place. Could you tell us a bit more about the significance of this week?
So this week it was to be held in Italy by the International Plant Protection Convention, the 15th Commission on Phytosanitary Measures, and this would be held in Rome in Italy. This convention is incredibly important because it's held once a year, and ratifying countries of the IPPC come together to be able to work on the agenda pretty much towards phytosanitary issues and phytosanitary standards. One of the phytosanitary standards which the IPPC is responsible is the ISPM 38, which is specific for the international movement of seeds. And this is of great value to the industry, this particular international standard.
Now let's take a broad look at this topic. We could start, I guess, by talking about the vision of ISF, which is a world where quality seed is accessible to all, supporting sustainable agriculture and food security. How does seed movement support this?
Well, the seeds need to be moved because they are not produced on and sold in the same country anymore, due to a number of things, including research for new germplasm. Germplasm will have some fit agronomic traits, especially for situations like the climate change. So seeds move a lot, and these moves internationally, where the seeds are coming from one country of production to go to another country where they need to be treated, and from then they'll be re-exported to another countries where will be they find a destination. To be able to do that, the seeds need to have certification. For us as people, we call passports. For seeds, we call phytosanitary certificates. So they are required to have what we call a phytosanitary certificate. So for every country that they need to move, the seeds will need to have this phytosanitary certificate.
Okay.
Which
And
means
what's
that
the phytosanitary certificate?
it means that that seeds has already been inspected by the local authorities, and some specific measures has been done, which we call additional declaration. So, for example, if the importing country requests that the seeds has been inspected during the growing season for a particular pest, then the authorities from that specific country will do this during the growing season, and that it is listed on this phytosanitary certificate. So this document is incredibly important, and this is what will allow the NPPOs of the importing and exporting country to make sure that the requirements of the final destination of the seeds, all the requirements has already been met.
So if I understand correctly, the certificates are a guarantee that the seeds that are traveling to the country are healthy. Is that correct? You mentioned the International Standards for Phytosanitary Measures, or ISPM. Now, how does this play into the whole topic of seed movement?
So the international standards, they are drafted, and they can be of many of the countries. And so when the development of the ISPM 38 was complete, then this is incredibly important that we see as a seed industry that this ISPM will be fully implemented by all the NPPOs. So the international guidelines provide enough requirements or enough background information to allow the NPPOs of the countries to be able to introduce measures which can be internationally recognized, meaning that they can be harmonized. So there will be a much more or less deviations among the different NPPOs. One of the bigger challenges of the seed industry is exactly this, the ramp up in numbers and also in diversification of the phytosanitary measures. If everybody will follow the international guidelines, this diversity, there is a hope that will be reduced considerably. And without this incredible discrepancy, a much more seamless movement of seeds across all the different countries, the exporting, re-exporting, and production countries will be much more done much more effectively.
So if I understand correctly, the ISPM are a set of international guidelines to ensure that the seeds traveling around the world are healthy and acceptable to the countries where they will come in. Is that correct?
Yes, but not only for seeds, but for other different pathways as well. The international guidelines are done for all products who need to be moved between countries, and that not only includes seeds. But the ISPM 38 is the only one which is specific for seeds, and this is why its relevance is important for the seed industry.